Thank you for joining me for the very first episode of Kicking It with Colette. And I'm your host, Colette. Now, I'm somewhat of a thinker, which really means I just talk to myself in my head all day. So I had an idea. Why not just record it and call it a podcast? So here we are. Now, I promise you, I'm not crazy. I'm just creative. Okay. So stay with me. In this very first episode, I'll be talking about the hit musical and my personal favorite, Hamilton. So join me for that conversation. Spoiler alert, Hamilton dies at the end. Alexander Hamilton, just you wait, just you wait. It's my Hamilton impression. So I've seen the musical Hamilton at least 4 times. And I also listen to the soundtrack like all the time. If you haven't seen it yet, it's on Disney Plus, and there will be spoilers in this podcast. So be aware of that. So I checked it out on Disney Plus. Shout out to my sister for letting me use her password. So Hamilton, I really liked it. Now, when I first started watching it, I got some really awesome advice from my best friend. And she said to watch it with the closed captioning. Best advice ever. And at first I was like, I don't want to watch it with closed captioning. I really don't like closed captioning. I don't read that fast. And you're just like reading and watching, bouncing back and forth. And it just feels like work. And it's like, no, I just want to watch the musical. So I turned it on without the closed captioning. And about 10 minutes in, I was completely lost. And I was like, oh no, I need closed caption. Now, at first I didn't put on the closed caption, not because I was being rebellious, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how to do the closed caption on the Roku and Disney Plus. Okay, confession time. I'm really not great with technology. Me and technology have sort of a mixed relationship. So I had to call her so she can tell me how to put on closed caption. So after I did, everything made so much more sense. And it really wasn't bad reading and, watching. So if you haven't seen it, do it with closed captioning first. And then watch it a second time where you can just watch the interactions on stage and the dancing and all that fun stuff, because that's really great also. Like, one of my favorite parts is this guy, he does the dance with a book. Yes, with a book. He's like center stage, like spinning it around. Makes me think of one of those like sign spinners. But every time I watch it, I'm like, yes, come through with the book dance. Yes, book dance, man. It's the little things that just really catch my attention. But that was one of my favorite parts. And I'm not sure, because I didn't go back and check the cast list, but I'm pretty sure Book Dance Man and Philip Schuyler are the same person. Now, that's another thing. In this musical, several actors play 2 different characters. So don't attempt to adjust your television, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, those 2 characters do have the same face. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Book Dance Man is Philip Schuyler. Now, Philip Schuyler, he's the Schuyler sisters. It's the Schuyler sisters. Work. Their father. Now, he doesn't have like any lines or anything. He's only like pantomiming in the background with Alexander when it's time for them to like get married. Oops, spoiler. Right after Helpless. Yeah, but anywho, yes, I thoroughly enjoyed Book Dance Man. So next time you watch Hamilton, or the first time you watch Hamilton, watch out for Book Dance Man. Can we talk about the cast of Hamilton? Now, the obvious thing is that Hamilton takes place in like Revolutionary War times where, it's like colonial with pilgrims and white wigs and white people and buckles on their shoes. And you know what? I might be mixing up time periods, but you know what I mean. It's mostly white people. We can all agree on that. And Hamilton is all black and brown, which is so cool. It's like the cast of Hamilton looks like America. Isn't that dope? Like, I think it's so neat that like the cast of Hamilton looks like America is now, which is so neat. Speaking of George Washington, like, am I the only one that thought George Washington was handsome? He was like singing. He's like the manly, rugged type handsome. But yeah, could sing too. I was like, hello, founding father. Like, let me find out you smell good. I'm just kidding. That man is fully married and I'm pretty sure he has kids. So calm down. But yeah, the whole cast of Hamilton looks like America. And it's neat because each character had their own style of rapping, singing, or whatever, but yet it all came together and produced a beautiful story. And like, that's how America is now. Like, we can all be different and still come together and produce something beautiful. It's interesting that the whole story was told from the perspective of Aaron Burr. Now, I didn't know anything about Aaron Burr until this musical, assuming all the facts are right. They may not be, but I choose to live in my little fantasy world of Disney Plus, and we're going to leave it there. But yeah, before this, the only thing I knew about Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton was that Burr shot Hamilton. That was it. I didn't even know Hamilton's role in any of this. I didn't even know that Burr and Hamilton were like co-workers, semi-friends, colleagues. They were like frenemies. But there it is. Burr and Hamilton were frenemies. They were the first frenemies. See, we all thought it was like, Nicole Richie and, was it Paris Hilton? Whoever, flashback. That were frenemies. No. Au contraire, mon frère. Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton, the first frenemies. Oh, and it's funny because, like, it's like halfway through the play before Alexander finds out that Burr doesn't like him, which I think is funny because Burr is like in a secret competition with Alexander. And Alexander's like, bro, I thought we was friends, until he like ran against his father-in-law for Congress and took his seat. And Burr was like, I'm just out here trying to make mine, but whatever. So I think that's funny. He's a frenemy. He had a secret competition. Have you ever been in like secret competition with somebody? Or like somebody have a secret competition with you? To me, that's funny. And it makes me think of like all these people that go on social media and they're like, forget the haters and blah, 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 blah. And they're talking about their haters and all kinds of dumb stuff. And it's like, forget the haters. I'm out here getting money and I'm out here grinding and doing mine. No, you're not. You are not. If you have time to be posting and worrying about haters, you are not as focused as you should be. Okay, because real people that are like legit on their grind, they don't know they have haters. They are too busy focusing with their eye on the goal. They're too busy focusing to even notice that somebody is on the sideline looking sad. So if you got time to post about your haters, might want to consider your hustle. Makes me think of that song. I don't know that rapper's name, but he has that song. It's a little bit dated, but that's okay. We're going to run with it anyway. And he's like, I don't F with you, yo, stupid, blah, 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 beep, beep, beep. I don't curse because, I try to keep it holy. But yeah, that song is hilarious to me because you don't F with somebody so hard that you had to make a song about it. Like, big contradictory. Is that not funny to anybody else? Like, for me, I don't even talk to people I don't like, let alone write a song about it and then take the time to go to the studio to record it. Like, he could have been doing so many other things that day. He probably missed out on a pickup game with his boys. He could have wrote a better song. He could have been doing all these other things. And they're like, hey, man, come with us and do this and that and the third. And he's like, nah, man, I got to go to the studio and record this song about somebody I don't like. What? Like, that's just crazy to me. So you don't F with them so hard that you went all the way to the studio, went all the way into the booth, put a whole set of headphones on, stood there, mic check, yeah, but that sounds good. Turn me off my headphones, yeah, okay, cool. Then that whole charade, bobbing your head, waiting for the beat, giving your man hand signals through the window. I've never been in the studio. This is just my imagination. Just to say how much you don't F with somebody. That is ridiculous. Anywho, speaking of secret competitions, I've actually had a secret competition moment happen in my life. It was pretty funny. I was actually in high school. Now, like when I was in high school, I used to eat a lot, like a lot. Now, I'm basically a petite woman. But yeah, I used to, when I was in high school, I was an athlete. So I ate a lot, like clean plate club, go to a restaurant, smash all three courses, whatever. Now I'm still a member of the clean plate club, except for I just learned to use smaller plates because, you know what I'm saying, my metabolism ain't set up the way it used to. So we had to adjust. But anywho, so I'm out with some friends and we were going to a football game, I think afterwards. So we went to go get something to eat. Now this is one of the few times that I was allowed to like do things before or after a football game. So we go out to eat, right? And we're either at like Chili's or Fridays or someplace like that. And I order like some sort of meal platter. It's one of those meals or menu items where it's like several different things, like a little bit of ribs, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, several different things on your plate, right? And my friend, she orders the same thing. Now it's four of us. No, one other friend, she orders the same thing. So we're eating, we're chatting, doing our thing, blah 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 blah. Then all of a sudden she goes, "Oh, I can't do it anymore, I'm done." Like, what are you talking about? Do what? She was trying to eat more than me. And I'm over here just enjoying my meal. And she's trying to eat more than me and ends up being stuffed. Like, she ended up with a stomach ache. Instead of going to the game, like, we went back home because she had a stomach ache. So, yeah, don't be in secret competitions with people. That's the moral of the story. Or you'll end up with a stomach ache. Or end up in a duel in New Jersey. And then you'll be the villain in somebody's story. Which is another point. As I'm watching the musical, I didn't consider Aaron Burr to be the villain. Like, yeah, he was definitely an antagonist, but I didn't think of him as a villain. Now, before I watched the musical and all I knew was Burr shot Hamilton, I thought he was a villain. I thought he was like some random dude like John Wilkes Booth. That's the guy that shot Lincoln, right? Isn't that it? I'm not sure. But I thought he was just like, some random like villain, vigilante, down with independence. Like, I don't know who I thought he was. Actually, I never thought of it, never even considered it. But so he talks about being a villain in the story, and as the play progresses, I was thinking it didn't feel like a villain to me. But then after I watched it like maybe third time or so, I thought about it and I said, I think Aaron Burr made himself the villain because of this whole secret competition thing. I feel like Aaron Burr made himself the villain because he was so trying to outdo Hamilton instead of just doing his own thing. And then he just got so built up with angst and anger and playing defense, all that. If you don't play some offense, it'll just build up inside of you. And I think that's what happened to Aaron Burr, sir. So don't let that happen. And then you'll just end up, shooting somebody in New Jersey. Everything's legal in New Jersey. Is that true? Is everything legal in New Jersey? I have no idea. I'm a Southern girl, so I only know what they tell me on TV. Which I'm hearing rumors that TV's not accurate. I don't know. We'll see. So back to Hamilton. So Hamilton didn't even know that Burr was like in a secret competition. And I think it's interesting also that, and I found the real difference between Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr, sir. Burr was playing defense and Hamilton was playing offense. All right, so rock with me. Go with me here. So Burr was like, Hamilton doesn't hesitate. He exhibits no restraint. He takes and he takes and he takes. And he talks about in the beginning of the song. Oh, that's my favorite song, by the way. Wait for it. Wait for it. Okay, sidebar. If I'm ever on So You Think You Can Dance and I'm about to get eliminated and I have to dance for my life, I'm totally going to dance to Wait For It. Because that song is so dope. Wait for it. Wait for it. Especially at the end when you're rocking with the beat and you think they're about to say wait for it, but it's a pause. And then they say wait for it. It's like they make you wait for it. I see what you did there, Lin-Manuel. Well played, sir. Well played. So anyway, back to offense and defense. So Burr is playing defense because he says all he has is a legacy to protect. And Hamilton has nothing. So he's out there trying to score points. So that makes me think of like, that other line, immigrants, we get the job done. Okay, we get immigrants in this country, right? And they were able to start businesses, open stores, open nail salons, open hotels, gas stations, all these restaurants, all these businesses to start something for their family, establish wealth. And then you've got other people that are just like, immigrants are taking our jobs. Immigrants this, blah, affirmative action. And they're just all mad and grumpy because they're too busy playing defense instead of playing offense. It's like they're too busy trying to defend some land that their ancestors stole. I mean, who said that? But the point is, they're not continuing to pursue things. The game is always going on. The game of life is constantly rolling. When even after you pass away, it's constantly rolling. And then your children and your children and their children. Okay, focus. Okay, so and then your children, you'll pick up the ball and keep rolling. And so when people get mad about that, immigrants or whatever, it's like the game is going. Stop playing defense and go score some points. Okay, think of it this way. If we're playing basketball, right, and I knock down a 3-pointer, 3 points does not come off of your score. 3 points gets added to my score. That's how this works. Nobody's taking anything from you. There's room for everyone. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what Aaron Burr, sir, says at the end of the play. He realizes that there was room for both him and Hamilton. I don't remember what that line is. I would totally sing it, but I can't remember it. So you're just going to have to go watch it. Just go watch it. Educate yourself. Watch the musical. But yeah, there's room for everybody. You don't have to be, getting upset and trying to sabotage folk. Focus on your game and stay out of the studio making dumb songs. Who said that? Another thing about this offense and defense, with Alexander Hamilton, he never stopped when he was ahead. Man, this man is nonstop. Gentlemen of the jury, something. I don't know the rest of it. I thought that part was funny too. When he talks for 6 hours in front of Congress and the guy was like, bright young man. Yo, who the F is this? That would have been me. I would have been like, yo, who is this? Why are we letting this happen? Not because it wasn't good, but man, nobody should be talking for 6 hours. That's a problem. This man is nonstop. Oh, speaking of nonstop, Hamilton wrote 51 essays. Like, that's crazy. And it's funny with the campaigning. Okay, Burr talked about, people were like, oh, he seems like a nice guy. Like, I could grab a beer with him. Burr had no stances, no platform at all. And I feel like that's where we went wrong with America. We not worried about what he stands for, what he doesn't stand for. Nobody asks how many papers he wrote. We don't know if he can even read papers. Like, we don't care. He just seems like a nice guy. Yeah, we'll vote for that person. Yeah, we're making America great from the beginning. Anywho. Oh gosh. Another thing about Aaron Burr, sir. He was like the original politician. Like, he was out openly campaigning, passing out flyers. Tell your husbands, vote for Burr. Which was another crazy part. I was like, oh my gosh. He said, tell your husbands, vote for Burr. Women can't vote yet. I totally forgot. In the midst of this hip hoppery, I forgot this was still revolutionary times and things were different. And I also thought it was funny that he assumed that the women were married. Some of us are super single. But anywho, I digress. Tell him my business. But yeah, so he's campaigning and then everybody else is like, that's weird. Like, nobody appreciates his campaigning, but now it's totally a way of life. Like, what is politics without terrible TV ads? But yeah, and what's his name? Thomas Jefferson's coming home. Thomas Jefferson's coming home. And Jefferson was like, bro, you outwardly campaigned against me. You think I want you on my team? Psych. I thought that was pretty funny too. Like, Thomas Jefferson's character was hilarious. Like, shout out to David. I don't know his last name, but Lafayette and Jefferson, were two great characters. I thought he did an awesome job with that. Some more thoughts on Aaron Burr, sir. Actually, scratch that. Not Aaron Burr. Leslie Odom Jr. Can we talk about that voice? I mean, that brother can sing. I was like, you better serenade that empty chair. Had me want to change my name to Theodosia, writing you letters every day. I do live in Georgia, so, got to keep these colonies in line down here. But no, for real, there were a lot of talented vocalists in the cast of Hamilton. My top three, now this is just my top three in my opinion. Leslie Odom Jr., obviously. Eliza, played by Philippa Sue. And Angelica, played by Renee Elise Goldsberry. Those three, in my opinion, had the best voices. Honorable mention, though, to the King. The King. Don't even get me started on the King. The King was absolutely hilarious. Da 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 da. Another word of advice: don't watch Hamilton and then watch another musical immediately afterwards, because you will be disappointed. Like, the vocalists in Hamilton set the bar so high that when you watch something else, you're just like, meh, just wasn't feeling it. Just ask me how I know. Okay, another confession alert. I actually had to re-record that previous segment because I had my man's name wrong. I was calling him Lee Odom Jr. and it's Leslie Odom Jr. I realized it as I was playing it back. Thank God for the playback. So this time I Googled it to make sure I had his name right. And I Googled the other two characters, Eliza and Angelica. I Googled their real names too, so I can give them their proper recognition. But in my Googling of Leslie Odom Jr., I saw an article about his wife. And guess what his wife's name is? Wait for it. Colette! Okay, well, actually it's Nicolette, but Nicolette is just the not so short version of Colette anyway. So Leslie Odom Jr.'s wife's name is Colette. How cool is that? Like, I can't even write this stuff. So, as my brother would say, that's crazy, baby. Well, the good thing is now I don't have to change my name to Theodosia. Whew, glad I dodged that bullet. Actually, Angelica Schuyler was my favorite character in the whole scenario. Like, Angelica was like that woman. Like, she made me think of like a Proverbs 31 woman, revolutionary times version of a Proverbs 31 woman, because she was in the town. I'm looking for mine at work. She's looking for people with thoughts and ideas. Like, she's not just at home tightening her corset. Like, homegirl was in the streets. Like, she was involved. She had plans to influence Thomas Jefferson, to include women in the sequel. Work. But yeah, she was also loving. Like, she was so loving that she set her feelings for Alexander aside for her sister. And I was like, wow, that's really awesome. Thankfully, me and my sister don't have the same taste in men, so that is not a problem. I feel like she would have been like an entrepreneur. Like, she was like, had entrepreneurial tendencies to me. Like, in another time period, Angelica Schuyler would have been a boss, which is awesome. Another one of my favorite parts involving Angelica is when she sings the song Satisfied. Okay, right next to Wait For It is Satisfied in my book of songs that I liked from the movie. And she not only did she display her beautiful voice and her range, like, homegirl can rap, and she was going at it, like, rapping fast too. I was like, put her in the booth with Twister and see what happens. Y'all remember, am I showing my age? Twister is, y'all know who that is? Anywho. But yeah, I loved it. And I really liked that song. And not only that, I liked the connection that she had with Alexander, like, immediately. The conversation lasted 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes, finding someone you can match wits with. I was like, yes, that is what I want. Like, that is what I'm looking for in a partner, like somebody to match wits with, because that's a connection that you can't, I've yet to find. And it makes me think of that song, Get Lucky, with Pharrell and Daft Punk. We stay all night to get lucky. We've come too far. I don't remember the words, but y'all know the song I'm talking about. So I heard an interview with Pharrell a while ago when he's talking about that song, Get Lucky, and he's explaining what it means. Now, he said it's not, just about a one night stand. It's a little more than that. I mean, he could have been putting on for this interview, but for the sake of my podcast, we're not talking about one night stands. And he talks about you get lucky when you go out to the club or you're out dancing and you find that one like dance partner and you just connect and you have like a really good time all night. Now that has happened to me. So a couple years ago, well, it's been more than a couple years ago. It's been some years ago. I was at a salsa club. I used to be friends with a bunch of Puerto Ricans at my job. Like, shout out to Puerto Ricans. If you don't have a Puerto Rican in your life, you are so missing out on all the fun. So anywho, we go to this salsa club and I'm dancing with this guy and his name is Carlos, I think. Pretty sure it was Carlos. And I can't remember who he was from. I think he was from Colombia. I think. It's been a minute. But we had a really great time. Like, we just danced all night. We salsa dance. We danced just to be silly. We just had fun. But unfortunately, he didn't really speak English and I didn't speak enough Spanish. So there was no need to stay in contact. We can't really stay in contact. But it was fun. And so the whole get lucky thing, I get you. I feel you, Pharrell. So I'm looking for that, I'm looking for somebody to match wits with, Like she said, it's like Ben Franklin with a key and a kite. You see it, right? Bars. That's such a dope line. You remember Ben Franklin, key and the kite, electricity? It's electric. It's electric. Okay. So I was like, yes, that's the kind of connection I'm looking for. Electric out here. You know what I'm saying? So, and I believe it's possible. I know I'm super single now, but I believe it's possible. So, maybe you're listening now. Maybe if are you my Ben Franklin? You listening now? If so, I got a key and a kite. All right. So those are just some of my thoughts on Hamilton. So thanks for kicking it with me. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Stick around for my next episode where I talk about my new hobby. Yeah, I picked up a new hobby during these Rona days. Maybe you did too. Thanks for kicking it with me. Bye-bye.